garden fire and flames swept up the mountainside, triggering mandatory evacuations.
We were really worried about this fire potential for.
This tank can be used in water drops to fight fires within a 10-mile radius of here. On Friday, it was a game changer for the garden below. This is CBS 8 chopper video over the garden fire in Fallbrook.
One o'clock, let's call it to order. And pledge allegiance. Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Would you please turn on your microphones for us?
Microphone.
Microphones, please.
That is pretty fancy. All right. Ooh, that's loud. All right. Okay. Well, good afternoon, everyone. Let's do roll call. Bill Shute, present. Bill Stewart. Not yet. He's going to try to go online. Hayden,
Ms. Taki.
James,
Present.
and it doesn't look like we'll need either of the alternates today. All right, so that kind of takes care of item number 4. So moving on to item 5. Is the mic really hot or is it just my ears? The-
I'm not sure. It sounds normal to me.
Okay, it must be my ears. So item 5, additions, deletions, and amendments to the agenda. None from staff.
I have none.
Okay, none for me too. Okay, item number 6, the approval of the agenda. Let's take a peek and then I'd like to get a motion.
There's no discussion. I move that we accept the agenda as published.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Right, item 7, any public? Only staff, no public comments. All right. So takes us to item number 8, approval of the minutes, the September 5th and the October 15th. Okay, let's take a minute.
I move we accept the minutes as published.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, the minutes are approved. All right, item 9, comments and requests. Let's begin with the general manager's comments.
I'll be really quick today, but we did, last time this committee met was in October. We did complete our attachment and annexation to Eastern. It was effective November 1st. So yeah, a lot of, tremendous effort by staff in October to get the pump stations up and running. It was a really well coordinated effort. Robert and the entire team, Robert, Steve Coffey in particular, but the kind of the entire team's efforts. It was really impressive. I was out there as they were starting up each of them, and then as we kind of brought, commissioned them all together. But the amount of, they had people out in the field monitoring things, and it was a very coordinated effort, and it went a lot smoother than I think anybody could have imagined. So that really allowed us to kind of take all the actions we needed to get it done by November 1st. LAFCO did file the certificate of completion with both San Diego County and Riverside County. So that really formalized it. We made the initial exit fee payment on October 30th. And so, and the County Water Authority kicked me off the board. So it's official.
Wow. Did they drum you out or how did that work?
No, nothing. There was nothing ceremonial about it.
I'd like to add kudos to San Diego Gas and Electric for their cooperation in getting the pump stations online.
Absolutely. Yeah, Teresa and I put together, we sent them a letter requesting their assistance when, as we were getting to that point, and they did come through in a big way for us. So we're sending another letter, thanking them for doing that. It was pretty amazing, actually, the way, they scheduled us really quickly. And also they expressed interest in coming to, if we have an event out there or any other time, really. They didn't really care if it was a ribbon cutting or just, hey, we'd like to come out and see the pump station, see what you guys are doing. It sounds pretty interesting. So, so we're going to definitely accommodate them in that too. But absolutely, our contractor performed really well. So yeah, to get that done, really, we didn't really break ground until May, I think, is when they actually mobilized. So 6 months to get from start to us moving water, and moving water to the south is just amazing, really. So yeah, really a team effort on all fronts, and really was operations, obviously had to step up there at the end and do that. But financial planning and all the administrative tasks. And it was really the phone calls and the public relations. I mean, it was yeah. And we're only kind of just beginning on that part. And I think that's the last part of my comments is we subsequent to this meeting, we have a board meeting starting at 2:00. And there's quite a few actions related to detachment on that. Both in exit fee payments and water service agreements with Eastern. And I mean, there's 5 or 6 actions on there. And I think that really sets the stage for some pretty significant communications that will go out detailing, people now know this has happened. It's been in the Village News. It's been, it's in our newsletter. But really the results of now what's happening, our ability to keep our rates, where they're at, hopefully. I mean, that's, and then even providing some relief, to, based on some certain actions. And we're going to talk about potential for a credit, today at this meeting. So there's quite a few things there. And really, I think that sets the stage to tell the whole story on, hey, all these actions occurred and then these are the results of it. And it's, there's a lot of positive there, right? Despite some costs, right? We did incur, the exit fee. We wish we didn't have to pay that. And, we had some construction costs and legal costs and, as we went through this thing, but, I think looking forward, and I think we saw that in our, budget sessions that we did earlier in the year and all that, the future looks bright. It looks just like the board thought it would in that very steady rates and really the ability for us to take more expedient action on our CIP and our reserve, our reserve accounts. It's going to provide us some flexibility there. So anyways, pretty milestone achievement that everybody here was here for. And so, yeah, I'm pleased to tell you it's done.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, that's great. That's great. And I just echo your comments as far as congratulations to everybody that participated, and I'll special call out to Member Hayden here, whose leadership, and thank you for being part of this committee all these years while you've been quadruple tasks on all those other things. So that's quite an accomplishment as well. So thank you. And I look forward to what we can communicate about, kind of back to that bright future. I think we need to, as we mentioned in the last meeting, really keep up the communications and what does this mean for me and the good changes that are going to be happening in the district. So
yeah, and that will continue. I think our idea on that is I'd already kind of put together a narrative, I don't know, it was 6, 7 different kind of actions and things that, things that positively benefit our ratepayers, the district. And of course, our wonderful PR team is turning that into a nice kind of a pamphlet. I think we're going to send it out to every customer rather than just, I know there's a
Special mailing.
yeah, like a good amount of people that read our newsletter and a good amount of people that read the Village News. But I think everybody should read that and understand what we're doing. So I think that's our kind of our next piece.
I couldn't agree with you more because I'm on the board of the Yucca Improvement Association, which is an HOA of 84 homeowners off Live Oak Road
Okay.
in Los Alisos. And at every board meeting, they said, I thought the attachment already happened, after the vote, they think it just happens like that. They get all the newsletters, they get everything, but people still don't get it.
Yeah.
And it may have been reflected in their bill, but they still don't get it. And it's amazing to me how public agencies do not pat themselves on the back when they do something good. And, just in here, the word historic. I mean, it truly is. I mean, if anybody was going to bet like the betting organizations in the last election, when they were betting with real money on who was going to win and whatever.
not in the United States, though.
Yeah, I was going to say it's not legal in the United States.
People you know, I think it's a great opportunity, as you said, to maybe have a separate piece, and it's almost like a holiday gift that our customers are getting. And to get into the details of all the positives that have happened. Because the odds were stacked against you. And I mean, that's what it really got me going about wanting to participate in this district, because it was like, I have the guts to do what you did. And then to pull it off, it was like, wow, I gotta meet these guys. This is really something. And kudos to everybody involved. So I'm just a guy that came to the party late, but I think we ought to sing from the mountaintop here. Because this doesn't happen very often.
Mhm.
I went to a meet and greet with Carl DeMaio in Fallbrook before the election and specifically talked to him afterwards. Introduced myself and who I was, and he goes, "You guys are, unbelievable." He says, "I support you for," and we knew Carl did do a lot of support for us, but he supported us, but he said, "I thought this was a David and Goliath thing and that you guys didn't have a snowball's chance of ever
Mhm.
making it. And you just stuck with it and stuck with it and stuck with it, and you won. Good for you."
Well, it is a great story. And what I like about the communications that you talked about, the future communications, is that I think it closes the loop on for a lot of the ratepayers that, and we kind of owe it to them because, I mean, how much they came out in support. I mean,
Yeah.
what was the percentage?
95.
Record now.
95%, right? That local government responds to the voice of the voter, the will of the voter, and then they see it happen and they start to understand the benefits of it for them, because that's a great story. So I think a lot of people will feel pretty good about that. Excellent. That's it. Okay. Well, thank you, Mr. General Manager. Committee members' comments.
I just have, I don't want to detract from the glow of what we're all experiencing right now in terms of past accomplishments.
All right, Hayden.
But
I yield 5 minutes to my cohort.
being how much management here is always preemptive and looking forward. I picked up an article that I want to just give to Jake about forever chemicals
Mhm.
in the water. I think this is going to be the new big item
Oh, yeah.
Beef.
in years ahead, with all the plastics coming into our water systems. It's not raising a lot of attention right now, but I think it's on the horizon. So maybe staff can start taking a look at this in 2025 as something, how are we measuring the contaminants in our water?
Mhm.
What are our largest concerns? So we could try to get ahead of this, because I think the questions are going to start coming up, whether it's next year or following
It's
year.
already here.
And the more we can get ahead of this, the better. So there's some information from a federal standpoint, state, that you can take a look at. Just an FYI.
Yeah, that's a good point. I think I saw something the other day that really struck me, and I wanted to bring it up, and I'm glad you teed it up because it was a study that looked at the amount of microplastics that you consume based on drinking bottled water out of a plastic bottle, and that tap water was safer. And a lot of, right. So I mean, that is going to be a paradigm shift for a lot of people, because people get they get Flint, Michigan stuck in their head, they get whatever stuck in their head, and they're like, I can't, it's not safe for me to drink, the tap water, or I have to filter it before I wash my vegetables, or all these other types of things. So the ability for us to communicate, and I think you guys have done a great job with, explaining, the water studies and all those kinds of things, but explaining how good our water is compared to other options. Not that there is other stuff that we have to deal with in our water, but some options are actually that we might think are better are worse. So I think that's important too.
And you have to worry about your groundwater as well.
Yeah.
Camp Pendleton lost wells in the north part of Camp Pendleton over a year ago to PFAS.
Yeah. Yeah, any near any military installations.
And it's, well, even, I mean, Orange County is dealing with it in a
Dude.
big way, you know,
Yeah.
they do so much groundwater in that Orange County basin. And they're putting PFAS in all over the place, but PFAS treatment, because all those wells have been impacted.
6 million a well.
Yeah.
Over 100 wells.
One of my favorite projects that I ever completed, it was actually one of my first projects when I was at Rancho.
You actually completed one?
Wait.
Write that down.
It was, well, the reason it was one of my favorites, because it wasn't even a project, and, you know, I went through it from, hey, what are we gonna do with this problem? It was a water quality issue. And then we designed the facility, got the funding for it, and built this treatment facility. Well, the treatment was for iron and manganese. And it ran for about 3 or 4 years. I mean, just a great groundwater resource. And then we tested for PFAS and got hit on PFAS, and it's been off now for 2 or 3 years.
You're-
That was heartbreaking. But yeah, so they're gonna have to add treatment to it, but it does seem to be certain pockets, you know, military installations downstream of military installations, industrial kind of, you know, uses, things like that, but it is
Bulb
pervasive.
has some groundwater, right? Or it's,
There's more, well, it's coming off of Santa Margarita.
oh,
Yeah.
In the south part of Pendleton.
Hmm.
But you're right, North Pendleton, I think they've been
They got really hit.
wheeling water and doing all kinds of things to deal with that. But yeah, it's a big issue.
any other comments?
I'll have some on the newsletter. and we're gonna talk
Okay.
about that.
Great, Hayden?
I don't have anything. Thank you.
All right. My only comments, I wanted a little shout out to Josh and his team and also Clem. Cause I got a member of the community approached me, this past month. Talking about a kind of an excessive bill, and an amount of water that, he had no idea how they could have used. And, when it was explained to me, I was pretty surprised how that amount of water could have flown in a very, short period of time. On his property, given his circumstances, but my shout out is really that, you know, Josh jumped on this. They went out, they pulled reports, they did on-site inspection, they measured, and they actually, you know, probably showed the homeowner that, you know, under certain conditions, the exact flow rate that was measured over a certain period of time could be generated, or was exactly the number generated by his manual irrigation system. So it was one of those things that you know, you kind of had to get down to the numbers, and we did, which was good. And I think we got another Flume customer in the process, because that would have reminded that person that you know, that somebody better turn the water off. But so anyway, so I just wanted to shout that out. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
That was great. I'm actually dealing with a little Flume thing right now myself. It's been telling me for 2 days that I have a leak. Nowhere on my property. It's in my house, which is never a good feeling. So now I'm trying to figure out exactly what's happening inside of it. But so helpful to be able to, you know, if you've got the right valve to turn off on, you know, that you can start cordoning it down and then realizing, okay, now it's nowhere on the acreage. It's inside my 4 walls somehow doing something. So I'm gonna cross my fingers and hope this ends well. But I was just trying to figure that out before I came here. So anyway,
You
love
could
that.
also
Flume.
offer the customer, you know, rebates on weather-based controllers and things like that.
Yeah, oh yeah,
Right,
no, those,
right.
well, we talk about, you know, rebates and giving them all those options and making sure they're aware of all that stuff. That's great. So anyway, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Clem too. And so that's 9. Okay, and Bill's not on, right? Bill, are you on? Okay, Bill, we're on item 9, committee member comments. Do you have any?
It's talking.
Is he a participant?
Yes.
Bill, you're muted.
How about now?
Yeah,
Perfect.
there you go.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, no, I don't have any comment. But thank you for asking.
All right, welcome.
I'm,
Bill.
I can't vote because, as you may have explained, because, we didn't get my address where I'm located currently, posted. So, but I'm happy to sit in and offer comments if you wish.
Okay, so you don't have any comments now?
No, no comments at this
Great.
time.
Thanks, Bill. All right, item 10, crop swap program update.
So for this month, we have 5 submissions. We lead in participation yet again. And our current projects are pending review. We have passed that first come, first served basis because we've taken up a large amount of the communal pool. So right now we're kind of in that limbo stage, whereas prior to this, all of our projects were being quickly passed through upon approval.
Yeah. I'll touch on that just real quick. So, and I think I mentioned this before, but everybody had a $200,000 reservation to begin with, and then there was a $1.25 million first come first serve pool. And so where are we at? 878,000, 880,000. So our 200,000 plus we took more than half of the first come first serve pool. Valley Center is also over there. I think they're about double their 200,000 reserve, and Fallbrook is as well. So it's been, I mean, we've been at this 6 months, I think, wildly popular. We are out of funding in that first come first serve pool. So we still have, I think I counted 13 projects, 14 projects that were still in the queue. Those will at least temporarily go onto like a wait list. And so a couple things, I actually had a conference call today with the group, all the general managers of the 5-6 agencies. We're going to pursue some additional funding. So there's a couple avenues that we're looking for funding there. There was also some reservations, like, Oceanside hasn't used their 200,000 yet. So they're going to do some additional efforts, I think, beginning of the year. And Rancho hasn't used all their funding either. And so I think as we move into, the plan really was as we move into next year, because all the funding needs to be, the projects need to be complete, the funding done by the end of 26. And so as we get into like the middle of next year, I think that's where we would start to look. Do we have any additional funding? If there isn't, what are we going to do? Are we going to spend the funding that's still there, that's allocated to other agencies? Do we want to now, throw these people off the wait list and expend those funds? I think you would want to, because you'd be getting, I think you need to give people a year to get their projects done.
You don't want to leave money on the table.
You really can't, right? That's yeah. So anyways, but I think it's a good story, even that if we're going to keep kind of filling up the wait list and the amount of funding that's on there, because I think that's part of the story. Like, hey, we've got people ready to go. We just need, an additional cash infusion basically from.
In the governance of that program, how will that play out as far as the scenario you just described? That if an entity doesn't use up its allocated funding, at what point and who decides that they give that money back to the pool?
Right. Well, we have we had an MOU that we all approved. So it would be an amendment to that MOU. So yeah, if somebody was going to, it would go through the various boards to be able to do that. So yeah.
So our current standing is 76 submissions to date, 58 have been approved and are in the pre-inspection process. And we had an increase this month. So we have a total of 26 avocado rootstock rebates that came through. Let's see, 4 crop conversion pipes came over the last month, an increase of 3 avocado rootstock and 1 avocado tree rejuvenation, along with 1 soil moisture sensor. So we're slowly creeping up there.
Very nice.
All for crop swap.
Okay. All right. Any questions on crop swap?
Nope.
Moving on to item 11, discussion of financial options from one-time savings from early detachment from the county water authority.
Yeah, so this item, originally the board had taken this up at their October 30th meeting. And we had provided a couple of options. So we had budgeted, as part of the fiscal year budget, that we anticipated, detachment to occur on January 1st, 2025. Conservative, we wanted a, conservative assumption, that we beat. We came in 2 months early. So with that, there is some savings within this fiscal year budget that we didn't anticipate. And so Rick calced out exactly what that looks like. And there was about $770,000, I think $768,000 in fixed cost savings that we're going to realize from November to January. And so wanted to give the board the opportunity to weigh in on how we may use those funds. There are literally hundreds of places that those funds could go. But we wanted to boil it down, and the board asked for some options. Hey, wanted to explore some other options and get the committee's input. So over the past, as we've gone through these last couple November committee meetings, basically we took each committee and kind of within their purview, hey, if you were going to use this according to your purview, how might you do that, or what is your preferred option for using that? So we took it to E&O. We gave them a kind of a suite of projects, 3 projects to look at, kind of different styles, pipeline replacement versus, this, that all kind of fit within that budget allotment. And they chose, hey, if we were going to do a capital project with this, we would advance, it's a pipeline replacement project. So accelerating one of our pipeline replacement projects that was actually scheduled for the following year. We went to budget and finance with a couple of financial investment type options. Do you want to pay down some debt? Do you want to, help me out?
Pre-purchase water.
Oh, pre-purchase water. So that's a whole nother story. We'll get into that, but there is a program coming through Metropolitan where it's basically pre-purchase at existing rates for future deliveries. So you save on rate increases basically. And they get to kind of smooth their budget, and they get the time value of the money. But I think it's mostly about smoothing their budget, making sure their sales are kind of where they need to be. So that program is being rolled out. I think they discussed it actually yesterday. I've got a meeting set with Eastern because Eastern is going to offer that to us. So it's something we can decide in the future too. The other option was per our reserve policy, anytime we do have unexpected savings and we are below our minimum targets for our reserves, our policy does say you should put those into reserves to try to get back to your, and there's benefits to the ratepayers there too. We're going to invest it. That's going to provide returns and those kind of things. And it allows us to, any unexpected expenses, obviously you can use it for that. It's insurance for us. And the Budget and Finance Committee recommended that option. They said, hey, this is what our policy, this is what our policy says. We should, we would recommend putting into reserves, invest it, and use it strategically when we have, unexpected expenditures or things like that. So we have those 2 options. The third option, and that we weren't going to take off the table, the board, this will be on the board agenda, is kind of a one-time, or does not be a one-time, but a rebate to our customers. So a bill credit to our customers, giving them back the $768,000. So in the staff report, there's a table there that shows kind of the breakdown, and we did it, oh, there you go, proportionally and equitably by meter size, which is how we chart, how we allocate our fixed charges, and kind of comes up with that total rebate. The table shows the number of meters, and then of course it equals out to that $768,000. What we wanted to ask this committee was, if we were going to do that, given you're the communications and customer service committee, we could do it. Yeah, we could do it as a one-time rebate, or really you could do it any way you wanted to, but you could do it as a one-time rebate. That would just be the full amount on one bill. Or if we wanted to spread it out, say over the rest of this fiscal year, That's what this table here shows. So the monthly amount over those 6 months. The monthly amount over the 6 months equates to about a 5 to 8% reduction in the fixed cost on a person's bill, on individual bill. So that's per month, about a 5 to 8% increase, which is kind of similar to what Fallbrook did. They had reduced some fixed costs, and I think the average was about 5%. So it's kind of in line with that. So 2 questions, really. I mean, if we were going to do this, what do you think is the better way to do it? What would be your recommendation on how to allocate this? And then any recommendations you guys have, obviously, on communications. This would be part of, hey, is it a massive benefit? Maybe not, but it's something we can do. And we obviously would want to communicate that along with all the other communications that we're doing, or the benefits of detachment. Yes.
Okay.
So,
James?
I love giving rebates to customers, but I think we've got a lot of good stuff that we've already given to our customers and I think that's part of my thing about the next newsletter. We can accentuate that more. I just assume really use that money to strengthen the district. And my recommendation would be to show the customers through our communications how much we've done already for them. But basically use this one-time gift, so to speak. And my thought was, not knowing all the details, would be to divide it up 50% to reserves and 50% maybe to buy water as a further hedge. Because we know that's one of our reasons for detachment. Water is going to only increase in price, and if it makes sense, where we really will generate a savings for our customers, I would take advantage of any of those buy water now and get the savings. But
yeah,
I think half of it should go to beefing up our reserves, because stuff happens, and that's why we have reserves. So
okay.
Anything we can do to strengthen our district with that money, we ought to take advantage of. That would be my strong recommendation.
Thanks, James. Hayden?
I don't have a say.
No say. Okay, yeah, good. All right. Bill, are you out there?
I sure am.
Thoughts?
And I like the first suggestion very much. I think that there's a lot to be said for both. I think part of the funding half the funding going to strengthening the reserves is a really important option, because our reserves are not dangerously low, but they're way lower than let's call it the state of the art would require to back up our district in the event of unforeseen events, as well as simply to look good to lenders and those with whom we're financing, that we're serious about refunding our reserves as soon as possible, and that this is a step forward. On the other side of it, it makes an awful lot of sense to do something that will have inure to the benefit of the ratepayer down the line if we were to purchase the whatever you call that thing, but an advance to MWD to lower a future rate. I think that's an excellent suggestion. I would go with it as well.
They call it reverse cyclic.
Okay.
Sounds like a disease.
Yeah.
Don't you love-
There's a history. There was a cyclic program, so now this is reverse cyclic. Yeah.
Don't you guys just love the administrative ease that goes with this business? Reverse cyclic.
All right, thanks, Bill. I guess my only comments would be, I think the idea of giving a rebate, though tempting, it feels like it could be very confusing. Because if they saw a negative, $8 on their bill, that is some like a monthly savings for early detachment, whatever it would be called. Then are they not or does it make it harder to understand the other savings that the district
Yeah, that's
is?
all I got.
Yeah, is this all I got?
Yeah.
And they don't understand that the price of their water is less because of detachment. They don't understand that, you know, all these other items because of detachment. So I think that that to me is a little problematic. Or it could cause challenges for that. As far as the you know, the reserves versus you know, it being able to offset planned capital expenses that were already targeted as part of the detachment. So that whole expense line, you know, based on the model, gets less, and how that nets out to be able to at the right time have a conversation. Whether it's the annual pricing conversation or whatever, that that we got this because of the hard work, because of all those efforts, we were able to get this additional savings, and that you're going to directly see that as cost avoidance in capital improvement projects that we were going to have to do in the you know, just in general, right? Because we're on our own, that type of a thing. So I think it just needs, however we do it, we need to think about the framework in which it's going to be explained, and when the right time to explain that is. But I would be against $7.54 on a monthly basis showing up on my bill. I think
After 2 or 3 cycles, you forget what it's for.
right, and I think it'd be more
And why
confusing
did it
than
stop?
And a one time, the flip of that is a one-time rebate is the next month is, why did my bill go up?
could be that too.
So
Right.
those are both, you know, yings and yangs. What was the Gopher Canyon repair cost?
That's the same.
Gopher Canyon, the one that we just did,
Yeah.
the 12-inch, we're still tabulating the cost. We had assumed it,
Ballpark.
yeah,
Ballpark.
400, 500,000,
400, 500,000. I like the idea
replacing some
that
pipe.
James is put it in the reserve, because
Yeah,
we're one break away from having financial problems. We've got a CIP program in place. We know how we're going to fund it. Let's execute the plan and keep this as insurance for those unknowns.
yeah. Well, interestingly enough, and Hayden knows this already, but we had a leak out on Mission. You may have driven by there, because we were out there a couple of times over the last couple of weeks. But a lot of water lost. It was a 20-inch transmission main crossing Mission Road, you know, main artery up into Fallbrook. Luckily, we were able to keep traffic going 2 directions because, well, but the leak was actually inside a casing underneath Mission Road. So we actually had to cap both ends, bring in a lining company to come in and install a liner through, you know, from one end to the other end of Mission Road, and then go back in and retie in both ends. That one, because we were able to do that, it's about $100,000. It was about $100,000 fix. But
Had it been a major blowout, it would have been a whole different story.
definitely, I'd say we got a little bit lucky on that one, to be quite honest, that it wasn't tremendously more expensive. But I think that what came out of that really was, and you guys know this, but if we don't execute our CIP, it executes on us, you know, unexpectedly. And so anyways, I think we're all kind of on the same page, whether it's these savings or not. I mean, that it's really, really important that we keep moving on that. So
It's whether it's 50-50. I like the idea of pre-purchasing.
yeah,
But there again, 750,000 doesn't go very far these days on a major problem.
okay.
All
I think we
right.
hear you.
Okay. Anything else on 11? Oh,
Nope.
Okay, we've got 18 minutes. Item 12, customer service call metrics.
All right, I got some data for you guys. These are the past 3 months here. So this is the average hold time. 42 seconds, pretty consistent with we've been experiencing. 54 seconds in September. So that was when we had that auto pay issue. So that's where you see that spike. So we had a little bit more of average hold time, but our goal is to always keep it under a minute, which we did. And then in October, 46. And then this is just 2023 compared to 2024. So pretty consistent also. Just year over year. This is gonna be the average talk time. So you'll see it increase a little bit in September, but October it spikes up to almost 5 minutes. So again, that was
billing.
just, yep, that was the billing issue. And that graph is also when the bills are going up, right? So like people had like the increased bill, it's hotter months, people are using more water, so we're just explaining those bills to them. And it's the same thing, 2023 compared to 2024. And then this one is going to be the total calls for the month. So you see that big spike in October. So 1,500 calls. That's the most that I've seen personally since I've been here about almost 5 years. So 1,500 while keeping the average hold time under a minute. Pretty impressive.
Josh, what would you say? So you've got an extra 400 calls there from month to month. I'm assuming that was within a day or two that
Yep.
all those calls hit. That's what the graph doesn't show is
The density.
this was concentrated within a few days.
Yes.
Trying to address the issue.
And still keeping things under 5 minutes.
Mhm.
That's pretty.
Yeah.
Very impressive too, yeah.
Yeah, good point. Yeah, the first 3 days. So I think it was the day after the due date. So like 11th and 12th and 13th. The first day there were like 280 calls. Next day like 150. Following day like over 100. So yeah, huge spike just within those first three days.
There's another interesting metric there. You look at your average call rate, roughly 1,100. Over 9,400 meters, that's roughly 15% of your ratepayers are calling you every month.
Mhm.
Yeah, 1 to 9, 13%. Yeah.
Or something.
And we had a little bit of an increase. The blue line is the callbacks.
Yeah.
So of course we had 60 because I mean there was that first day, there were about 6 of us on the phone.
You got-
We had about like 8 people, I think I counted was the most, just waiting in the queue, just consistent, just all throughout the day. So
So it might be the same people calling every.
yeah.
When I
That's,
talked to
that's the
live
unknown.
person-
and
Yeah.
50%.
Yeah.
They all want to talk to
Definitely
Josh.
And then this
Okay.
was 2023. So the other calls, same months, but definitely a spike. I don't anticipate for that to happen again. Hopefully we won't have another billing issue like that. Knock on wood.
That's
So
right.
I'm wondering, why are our calls going up? We're doing such a good job with the newsletter and I know the billing is an aberration, but I was expecting the number of calls to go down because of the excellent work we're doing with communicating. with
What was our
the
growth over the year in terms of new customers?
I'm not sure how many meters we've added.
No.
Yeah, I mean, you've had still Citro kind of
Well,
going.
Well,
and-
the other thing is turnover too. New
Yeah.
customers that have just moved in.
Yeah. And I don't know,
Not
James, if
replacing
you're totally aware, we had a billing issue in September, October.
Yeah.
Okay, you are.
I think he's
Okay.
just like a 7% increase year over year.
Yeah.
7 to 10%.
Yeah. Because at one point, I thought when we first started this, you were showing the vast improvement the new call system created, which is, which was significant.
Well, the other thing to look at is, well, I think you had a plot on average wait time or average call time.
Oh yeah.
Is that,
The average hold time right there.
well, I was thinking in terms of compared to last year, is the system allowing us to reduce the call time? Frequency may have gone up, but the actual contact time has gone down.
And
Yeah.
if you added the data from before last year, that's when
Mhm.
the dramatic decreases.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Sorry.
that's true, because
This
that's.
is like a great year versus an almost great year.
Yeah.
Well, I think we'd have to go back and dig back into the call reasons that we, dug out that one time to look to see if there's any trends there. But I think people have shared in the meetings in the past how there is a segment of our ratepayers just like to call in too, right? So maybe the high point of their week. Who
They're,
knows?
you're saying they're elderly and they need somebody to talk to.
Don't we all?
Yeah.
All right, any other questions on customer service call metrics?
My comment is, that I think the call times, the wait times, which are the frustration issues, you know. The fact you've got an automatic callback system now, which is nice. And that we're not seeing dramatic changes in the average talk time are all big pluses.
One last thing I wanted to add is I made a few phone calls to some of the other districts in the area. And I asked them what their average hold time is. And most of them said around like 3 to 3.5 minutes is the average hold time. So we strive to be under a minute, in which we've been consistently hitting. So that's our goal.
Okay. Well, I think overall, we talked a little bit about this last month, I believe, which was just, you know, I think we should always keep our eye out for ways that we can improve the website for, you know, people to interact, request stuff, do things at a more hands-off or, you know, not having to call into the district, and that we kind of do
Call
the nuts.
is the last resort.
Yeah, that they're able to complete an action or a request without necessarily having to talk to somebody, in just all the different ways that we might be able to have self-service. You know, it's good.
In that regard, do we have a chat mechanism on the website?
Or no?
We don't.
I
Yeah,
wonder how much it would cost to implement something like that.
I know we were talking about that last time. I think Bill Stewart said something where, you know, people tend to get a little bit more frustrated with doing the chat, right? Because looking for a specific answer to their question, and sometimes that chat doesn't give them exactly what they're looking for.
I've been there.
Yeah.
I had,
Well, if it's an AI driven chat, a chat bot. They're always worthless because they never address the question. I think.
Yeah,
Right.
the stall tactic.
I had, through my staff, implemented one at Rancho, and the technology cost wasn't significant at all. It took a tremendous amount of attentive manpower at trying to stay up on the questions that were coming in and making sure he didn't frustrate people from them trying to get an answer, and it's not getting you there. We'd have to look at options for just a normal chat interaction with our staff being very
Or
different.
Pops up.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's my last resort. Oh, gosh, I hate chatting. Kind of customer service thing, because it's such an inefficient way to communicate. Just let me talk to somebody. But
Resolve this.
I always found the chat bot was always in the way too. You're like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like trying to close it.
everywhere you move your cursor, it's a pop. Pick me, pick me, pick me.
Been there, done that, yeah.
All right, we got to move on.
Yeah.
13, community events update.
So we have a blood drive next month on December 18th. The San Diego Blood Bank is going to bring their mobile unit and park it out in the parking lot. Signups are available online. We have included the message in everyone's billing invoice. And for cycle 2 and 3, and then cycle 1 for next month, we'll also have this information in the newsletter. We plan to issue a press release and then reach out to our local schools to hand out flyers as well. So if you'd like to, please sign up on our website. It's on the homepage. There's a link. And then the North County Water Agency calendar was proofed and has gone to print. The copies will be available in the office starting in December, and we're going to distribute to our winners and then our local elementary schools and our superintendent.
did we get a month?
We did, yeah.
Okay.
All of our winners are placed in there with.
Oh, no.
Oh, really?
All right.
We got 3 minutes.
Yeah, and then we'll launch the 2025 contest in January and have all that information in the December newsletter. We also have an invitation from, not on here, the Bonsall Chamber, and if any committee members are interested, there is a tree lighting ceremony at the Bonsall Chamber in the Village Shopping Center there next Saturday, November 30th from 3 to 5. It is located.
Right in River Village.
Yes.
Isn't
The
there a
River
picture?
Village?
You're by
Oh,
King-
over by the little.
King Walk.
Yeah, the
Sheriff-
roundabout.
Sheriff's Station right there.
Okay.
King Walk, best Chinese restaurant in North County.
So, like,
That was a plug.
Yeah, the only one.
That's the only one.
they're gonna have horse-drawn carriage, pictures with Santa, hot cocoa, that whole thing. But we were strongly encouraged from our board member, John Finn, to attend because she sits on their board. If you'd like to go, please do.
All right, that's on my calendar. Okay. All right. Any questions on community events update? All right, moving on. Item 14, newsletter content planning. We have 10 minutes or
Okay,
let's say
so
8 minutes.
if you have a copy of the newsletter in front of you, this issue was a huge group effort to summarize our historic detachments, give people a timeline of events to let them know where we started, where we're at right now. An overview of the customer having a greater voice. Now they have voting rights, not just for our community, but also for Eastern's board member that represents us. We gave information about our new ag rates and how the board will be voting today on those, and we'll give a recap in the next newsletter. There's a post-attachment FAQ that was based upon some community questions that we had received. We wanted to clear up anything that FPUD had experienced and try to address some of those there. And then a feature on the blood drive will go out in cycle 2 and 3 billing.
Excellent.
Planning ahead for December. This is of course open for discussion. Member James, there was a rates update. We'll give the information that will be decided upon today. Focus in on fair and equitable rates for all customers. Now drive in the value of water, how we import 100% of our water, where that comes from, the process for that. And a photo recap from the Bonsall High School visits. We did not have room in the previous issue. Holiday reminders about fogs and our office hours. In January, we will review the bill and then create a video that will kind of take you through how to read it, how to pay online, really push for those online bill pays, introduce the calendar contest, push some rebates from Met, and then our customer survey.
Any comments, feedback for the team on the newsletter planning for the next 2 months?
I think it's great. And I really like what you're doing in January. One suggestion for December, and maybe this is a little too corny, but you guys are the experts. Maybe a little section of the newsletter could be happy holidays, and just a summary of what the district has done for its customers. It's generated over $800,000 of grant money to, through the crop swap. It's it accomplished detachment, which kept you from having a rate increase from the County Water Authority of X number percent, and just tick down 4 or 5 items that are real savings that the board has been able to give its customers happy holidays. That type of thing. I think we can't not continue to emphasize what the board has done in the district management to generate real value.
Kind of what to be
savings.
thankful for,
Yeah.
kind of a thing for the
Yeah.
year.
I mean,
Year,
this
a
is
year,
money
in
in
the
their
year of
stock.
accomplishments or year recap or
Yeah,
something,
it's
highlights or.
Money in their stockings, real money. So, again, I haven't seen any other water districts really generate grant money directly to its customers like the crop swap program did. And I think we really need to highlight that, which will probably generate more people wanting to know about it, even though they have to be put on a wait list now. But it sows the seeds for maybe more funding in the future. And yeah. So I would recommend that if you have to drop something, to get that in, I would recommend it, because nothing better than a gift in December.
But not the Bonsall High School pictures.
Yeah.
We can
Okay.
actually include that we improved our outreach program with students.
Mhm.
We-
Well, see what you can do take it under advisement. All right, we're running out of time here. Any other comments on newsletter content planning? Okay, item 15, public communications related media stories. Woo-hoo.
We put out a press release and it's published in the Village News about our historic detachment that ran on November 7th. There's a copy in your packet there. And we had some positive media coverage from our response to the garden fire.
Nice.
Fantastic coverage from our local news outlet, and Jake had some wonderful interviews in there along with some of our fire captains. So we had CBS 8 covered on the 13th, and then ABC 10 followed up on November 15th. Yeah, I'm not sure if we have enough time, but we have, no, it's okay. There are QR code links if you scan with your phone.
Okay, we'll take a look at it after. We don't.
To
wanna
check those
push
out,
the-
but we got a few wonderful sound bites in there and some beautiful aerial footage of the tank and our heli hydrant.
Awesome. That's great.
Is the heli hydrant something that's a brand new technology?
It was, there's a few of them around, but
There are 3 that I know of.
yeah, this was the first one in San Diego County,
We were the first one in San Diego County. There was one up in
Yorba Linda.
Yorba Linda. Yeah.
And now there's a couple around this. There's one out by the Safari Park now, San Diego Safari Park.
And there's a
Valicitos,
mobile
I think,
And a
has-
mobile one at Valicitos. Yeah, but I think this is, I don't know
This
about
is the first time.
the Yorba
I think any
Linda.
of them have been used.
Yeah,
Yorba
that'd be
Linda
wow.
has been
How,
used.
how quickly did that?
Yorba
fit?
Linda's has been used, but this-
No, I didn't mean Yorba Linda. I mean in the county.
in the county, yeah,
Yeah.
I think so.
Are there any other areas we ought to consider?
Well, they are, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was one of the points when ABC came,
We'll put that on
Um,
the agenda for another.
well, both of them, but I really tried to stress that we have a second location for another heli hydrant. It's already been
Mhm.
approved, Cal Fire recommended.
Right.
Out at near the Gomez tank. And they did mention it. Kimberly Hunt said, we're looking for funding for the second location. So,
Mhm.
yeah, so I think we're gonna try to leverage some of this to go after
Excellent.
that. Yep.
Well, great, that's great coverage and
The other thing is the original, the first one cost us about 150,000. And Robert, in looking at it, thinks we can probably do it for as much as half.
it's great. That's great.
Just substantially less, because
Uh-huh.
we bought a bunch of stuff off the shelf as a package that we
Mm.
probably could have piece parted out ourselves.
Excellent. All right, well, great. Thank you so much. So a list of suggested agenda items for next meeting, item 16. Can we have a update on heli hydrant and planning? Could Robert come in?
Sure.
And talk about that, future sites? We've covered it in the past, but I think this is a great time to come back to it. Kind of what's in the future for that, because boy, did that clearly pay off right away. Just recently. Other items that we want to add to the agenda? I'd like to keep up on 12. I think loop back just to the final decision on 11.
Yeah, we'll talk a little bit too about some of we've got an event. I know in January, Eastern wanted to come and do an event here at the district. They have something to give us, and so there'll be some of that too.
Okay,
Maybe update on that schedule.
all right, perfect. Any other suggestions or comments? All right, well, thank you. Appreciate everybody's efforts. We are